Come on, Bitsy.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. It is Monday, the 24th of June. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and it is all over for crypto. Sell everything you've got, get out, walk away from crypto, and never come back. That is what they want you to do. Don't listen to them. We are going to go through what's just happened. We've got plenty of X-Files to talk about today, plenty of positivity on the show. There is no point in being negative. We already know where we're going to come to on Bitcoin. They have telegraphed this. They have given us the McDonald's symbol of where Bitcoin is going to go, and we are going to go through it. And you don't need to worry. The theme of the show today is hold support. That is what we need to do today. But we're going to go through all of that later on. If you're new here, smash the like button, give us a follow, subscribe, whatever buttons you've got. Bottom left-hand corner, we just broke 140,000 on Friday or Saturday. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Friday. To celebrate, we've added a nice little musically animated bar to the bottom left-hand corner. And eventually, over time, we are going to move over to Streamalabs, and it will be way more sexy, and you will have my face. If you've been watching the videos over the last few days, you will know that I'm starting to put my video, or camera should I say, on, and we're starting to do videos with me on camera. At some point soon, I am going to be on camera, but that's neither here nor there. Right then, who do we have in chat? We have got Reza, good morning. Good morning, Bullish Bull. Hidden Agendas. Velvet Rope is here. Who else is in chat? Mags is here. Solo Sky. And Web3 Superstar is in chat. I have not seen that gentleman in a very long time. Welcome to the stream. Remember, we have a question today. If moon phases work, should Mike wear a wizard's hat? That is the question. So far, 78% of you have said yes, 22% of you have said no. I'm already off to source my wizard's hat. And if you don't know what moon phases are, we are going to go through them very shortly. And remember to keep chatting in chat as we go along. It helps the algorithm. It keeps people knowing that we are still active and we're not just a stream. We are really here. It is really 11:02. So let's very briefly have a look at the markets. We are coming in at 62.7. We are down 2.5% in the last 24 hours. I think we had a crack at 64,000 yesterday, if I remember correctly. Ethereum is coming on under $3,400. BNB still hanging around. Look at Solana, $125. That is an absolute steal. I really don't want to press 24-hour gainers and losers, but we're going to do it anyway. There really isn't going to be a lot up. It's going to basically be the stable coins, which it is. DAI, Tether, USDC, USDD. It's not going to be a good day. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. Layer Zero, Notcoin, Dog with Hat, Pendle, Brett, Audi, ENS, Floki, Athena, Pepe, Bonk. We can keep going. It is a sea of red. Layer Zero hasn't finished with 15% retracement. It's down another 1.5% over the last hour. It's really not a good day. Today is not a day to look at charts. Today is a day to put in some buy orders at prices that you never thought you were going to get these coins at. That is the key. So we're not going to go through the usual stuff where we talk about market cap and volume. It is a Monday morning. Nothing happens on a Monday because it's straight after the weekend. But what we are going to cover today, we're going to go through the banana zone. Raoul Powell has called it the banana zone. We're going to go over that. The Sol scaling, which has just been released, that's going to make Solana faster and cheaper, believe it or not. Multiverse, is that something that you should be looking at? Mark Cuban was hacked. What does that mean and what can you learn from that? The token unlocks of the week, nothing too much to report there. And how you value crypto. How do you put a value on what a crypto asset is worth? That's going to be at the end of the show. Remember, try and stick around for as long as you can. Try and say hello in chat. We do try and cover as much as we can in 1 hour, and we do try and stream Monday to Saturday at 11 a.m. We've also got the trading show tonight at 9 p.m. Brogan will be doing the trading show in 10 hours' time. He'll be going over the charts. He'll be telling you that everything's going to zero. He's also started to record his Market Cypher B videos. So for those of you out there that keep asking him, how does this work? He's started to record those videos. They will be published over the course of the next few weeks as well. And a big thank you to Reza, who became our latest OG. He subscribed over the weekend. So welcome to the OG club. Now, let's begin with a few memes. 1 hour here is 7 hours on Earth. Good, we can hodl here. If somebody gave me the option of hodling for 7 years in a blink of an eye, I would do it. We would be far higher than we are today. It's just one of those things. And if you don't believe me, then I don't know whether Michael Saylor has now gone past the stage of being a Bitcoin maxi and now wants to start his own cult, because we're starting to see these ridiculous statements. Bitcoin is economic immortality. What is he talking about? His premise is, you ask anybody to name a company from 100 years ago that is still active and still doing better today than it was 100 years ago, and you would be hard pressed. Bitcoin is economic immortality because it scales with inflation. It goes up faster than inflation. So your treasury, everything you do will scale with your company. And as you can see, he's gone to black and he's wearing silver Bitcoin logo. The next thing I'm expecting is some kind of bandana or some kind of mask over his eyes with a big S and a big B on it. Sailor Bitcoin. That's what I'm expecting from it. And that's not the worst of it. He is talking about a $10 million Bitcoin. If you want to feel bullish, if you want to get out of the doldrums, go and listen to a 15 or 20-minute interview with Michael Saylor, and it will make you feel so much better. He is going to be the CEO of probably one of the top 10 companies. How negative you felt at $62,000, $63,000, $65,000. The same way when you look back at where we were last summer at $15,000 and $16,000. We've 4x'd in a year. Just put that into context. We've hit 74,000. We're having a bit of a timeout. We've come back to test the bull market support band, which is where we are today. Just let the process carry on. It's not straight up. If you've come to crypto thinking that you're going to make a 100x return in a week, you are sadly mistaken. It's not going to happen that way. Good morning, Peter. Welcome to the show. I hope you are all well. Gianni, welcome to the show. I hope you're all doing well. So, Dan Crypto Trades, again, one of the guys that I am following. He's sensible. He's not overly bullish. He's not overly bearish. He just represents the charts. All we know about him is that he is Dutch, and the only other Dutch person I know in crypto is Plan B, and if of course he's got his stock to flow model. So of course we've had our CME gap that's been filled. We know about that, and he has got another tweet from today, which I'll go through when we get onto Bitcoin, because it does hold true. You know, in a storm, you think it's the end of the world. You can't see the wood for the trees apart from the fact it's blowing past your eyes. Just wait. Now then, we're going to have a very quick conversation about meme coins. Okay? Now, as most of you know, who have been on the internet over the weekend, there is the Hokta girl, and I'm never going to say that again. A meme coin was launched based on the very viral video that came out. It ripped up. Loads of people would have bought into it. You all became exit liquidity for the whales, who probably made 500 or 600% profit on you from going to buy that meme coin. Remember what we say, not all crypto is created the same. Not all meme coins are created the same. So that's the first example. Don't jump on. The only way you're going to make money is if you join at the very bottom of those green candles and you sell somewhere near the top. You are in and you are out. Okay? Now, meme coins that I think are going to do well. And funnily enough, we were talking about this in Telegram last night. Biden, Joe Biden, or whatever it's called, for me, they're finished. Okay? If you're going to buy a meme coin in the next few months and you want it to be outside of the usual Bonk and Pepe and the like, go and get yourself one of the two MAGA coins. There is MAGA and there is Trump. They are the two meme coins I would go and buy. Short of a miracle, he is going to win the election, and he's going to win it by a country mile. He is something like 9 or 10 points ahead of the election. People are going to pile in to this meme coin, and this isn't the first I've covered on it. We've been covering this coin probably since the start of the year. MAGA and Trump are the two coins from that political sphere I think are going to win. Not Elizabeth Warren, not Joe Biden, none of those other coins will hold the weight of this coin moving into the election, but sell them. These are not your future husband or wife coins. These are a get in, make a return and get out. If MAGA rips up 200% tomorrow, sell it. Okay? If it takes 3 months to do 100% or 150%, sell it and get out and convert it to sats. That's the name of the game. If you're holding this coin next February, there's a good chance it will have retreated because it's buy the rumor, sell the news. What's the news? He wins the election in November. So just take into account, don't jump onto all the hype of everything you see. We know about the girl, we know about her meme. But that meme coin has got nothing to do with her. She won't have made a penny out of it. Now, why has this popped up? There we go. Let's go and have a look. So we're going to move on. Crypto approaching banana zone when risk assets utterly rip, according to Raoul Pal. Here's the timeline. Now, again, we're going to look at the Bitcoin chart today. We've got a couple of charts we're going to look at today. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at Solana. And then we're also going to look, I think, at Multiverse. They're the three coins we're going to look at today. But let's go through this news. Remember, storms pass. Price action passes. We've ripped up from October last year. We ripped up all the way to March. We spent 6 months going up. And now we've spent 3 months going sideways and down a little bit. We've only really retraced about 15 to 20% from the all-time high, if that. So it's not a massive correction. It gives chance for the bull market support band to catch up and for the markets to catch up. So former Goldman Sachs exec Raoul Pal says that a period of sustained uptrend is coming for Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. In an interview with Scott Melker, the guru points out that historically risk assets like Bitcoin and crypto tend to witness rallies during Q4 of a presidential election campaign. Now, also, that coincides with 6 months after the halving. So the halving is April. 6 months later is the end of October, April the 20th, October the 20th. I've talked to Peter about this on the channel. Peter's selling up in December and then buying in next year. 6 months after the halving comes a supply shock. At this moment in time, the miners are capitulating. They are having to sell their Bitcoin to pay their bills. So they are selling off. They have a finite supply. At the minute, we are probably a good 10,000, 15,000 ahead of where we should be in terms of the price because of the ETFs. So this correction isn't really anything too bad. What is a bit of a surprise, however, is just how long it's lasted. It's lasted a lot longer than people have expected. But the halving coincides with the election year, so it's easy to make the assumption. And probably it's half of one, or 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Look at the back end quarter of an election year. It's a true banana zone for all assets. It always is. So you know that you've got a very, very high probability that by autumn things are utterly ripping. How long before ETH, Bitcoin and Sol break their recent highs? It could be 2 weeks, it could be 2 months, it doesn't matter, but then it accelerates. Now, what's interesting about Raoul, he was a big ETH maxi, sold all of his assets, bought Ethereum. Of course, he's got Bitcoin. Of course, he talks about Bitcoin. Solana is a new one. He wasn't talking about Solana 18 months ago. Now he is. So he's adapted his narrative. And that's not a slight on Raoul. That's his opinion. People are allowed to change their opinions. You can flip bearish, you can flip bullish. Earlier this year, Powell said that politicians tend to hand out candy in the form of stimulus packages during elections, which leads to higher inflation and in turn, higher prices for digital assets. If you wanted a cheeky top-up of your Sol position, this would be a good entry zone. Let's see, the bananas are slowly ripening, but should be magnificent in the autumn. I totally agree. A triangle structure is often seen as a continuation pattern that tends to resolve in the direction of the prevailing trend. Based on Powell's chart, he appears to suggest that Sol remains in an uptrend. At the time of writing, we've come lower. We have come lower and we are in an uptrend, but when Bitcoin pulls back, to the extent that it pulls back, the alts get trashed. And the key is to accumulate your assets over periods like this. You can get them at any point you want in the cycle, but this isn't a bad time. Now, we're going to turn these off for a second. You will remember we drew the M pattern, which looks an awful lot like a McDonald's pattern. Now, for those of you in crypto for a while, you will know that when crypto goes down, people always talk about going and applying for jobs in McDonald's. Well, we have the perfect M pattern. And this line here is coming in at about 60,900, 61,000 for arguments. So 61,000 is the bottom of this M pattern. And as you can see, we followed this M pattern pretty well. And we are now sitting halfway down the bull market support band. That is coming in between 61.3 and about 64. So what do we need to do? We need to bounce. Now, down here, you will see that this RSI is absolute toast. It's at 30. When was the last time it was this low? Here. August last year. What happened in August last year? Did anything happen in August last year? We went on a very slow 3-month ascension before we broke out. So if you take 3 months from now, where does that put us? July, August, September. That's 3 months. What did I say was going to happen in October? We were going to have a rip. So what I need to see from here is some kind of 3 months to do that, and then come out the end, and then by October hopefully rip up. But we are now in severely oversold territory. That's the bottom of the M pattern. Oversold. At the start of it, look at where we were. We were all the way up here, massively overbought. We came down, we crushed all the way down here. We came down to 34, which is still fairly low. We were also down here at Feb. So every time the RSI comes down, we bounce. It could be a relief rally, a dead cat bounce, whatever you want to call it. But the RSI is oversold. Now, the patterns on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, again, they're not looking too friendly. But again, we are still oversold. 1 hour, massively oversold. Again, we're oversold. Weekly, again, we're coming down, but we're not quite as low as we have been over here. So on the weekly, we're not looking good. But I do think we're due a bounce. I do think we are due a relief rally. And where do we need to get to? In my opinion, we need to get to back over 64,000 today. Now that is a 2% move up. Don't know if it's going to happen today. ETFs have been selling off. If the ETFs continue to sell off, then we could come down even further. Then the lines then, if we do come down even further, 61, 58, 2, and then down here with the question mark, 52, 3. They're the zones. But if we bounce, we've got to get back above there, which is 64, 2. So that's where we're at. In my opinion, when you're oversold, the bears get exhausted, the bulls come out and play. And that's the simple fact of it. So that's where I think we're going to go. Don't be too negative. I'm seeing a lot of people who are upset. The thing is, Peter, you haven't lost it. Your Solana, your Mantra, your Aero, and your Balancer are all going to go up. What you should probably do, or what my advice would be, if they rip in the next 2 months, that takes you to the end of August. Take some profit, because we don't go up in a straight line like I've just said. Take some profit, sit on the side, wait for it to retrace again. If we do this over the next, let's go to the end of the year. Let's say we do this. Okay. And let's say we take a while to break that line. It gets to October, it gives way, and we just go on this massive run. Everywhere along these, we will have dips. Everywhere. We are never going to go up in a straight line. So take some profits off the table, especially if you're up 100, 200%. That would be my advice. Reza has said we need to load up. Buy Jupiter, Fetch, and Near. Jupiter, Fetch, and Near, 3 good projects for me. And again, the projects that Peter have bought are solid projects. Solana is going to have its own ETF. It's going to go to several $100s. Mantra, when it goes live, it's going to be a blockchain for real-world assets. It's a solid project. Aero is the DEX of base. again, it's going to be a massive project, and Balancer is not a bad project. They're all solid projects. If you look at a project and you know how it makes money, then everything that's going on right now is noise, especially DEXs. I did a portfolio video yesterday, and I included DEXs as one of the portfolio options. And I put Jupiter in there, I put Uniswap in there, and I put Woo in there. Why? Because when crypto rips, they will make 2, 3, 4, 5 times the amount of revenue that they're making today. That will multiply the value of their coin innumerably. If Jupe is $1, it's not, it's probably about 75 cents now, 70 cents. If Jupe's at $1, they've just burnt 30% of the supply. Jupe will go to a $7, $8, $10, $15 coin. Uniswap might do a 6 or 7x from here. It's based on the revenue that they generate. The same reason I like Chainlink. You buy projects that make money because the rest of them won't be here in 10 years' time. That's the key. Solana, my biggest worry about Solana, bigger, faster, cheaper is great, but where do you make your money from? If you cut your transaction fees by 50%, that's great. But you also need double the transactions to make the same amount of money. And that is my biggest issue with Solana. Look at the coins that make the most money, that generate the most revenue. Bitcoin makes a fortune for its miners. Ethereum, even though it's starting to cut down on its transaction fees, is still making a lot of money. Solana isn't making anywhere near the revenue that Ethereum is. Now, you'll know, if you're a soccer fan, you will know, if more people go and watch Manchester United than go and watch Stockport County, Manchester United can afford bigger players, bigger stadiums, better facilities, better coaches, the works. Or in Peter's case, Liverpool. They can go and buy better players. Stockport County has 10,000 a game. Man United has 77,000 a game. Man United will get the better players. Over time, they will be able to build out and get better. That's what Ethereum is. Ethereum is making 5 times the revenue that Solana is making. So over the long run, Solana might be sexy and Solana is retail, which is great, but Ethereum is still making all the revenue. And with all of the blue chip finance companies coming to Ethereum, that's not going to change. You know, let Solana play with its games and its NFTs and its DeFi. Let it have that. We've got the big boys. Now, both of them can be held in your portfolio. I'm not saying one's better than the other. What I'm saying is look at the amount of money it's making. Jupiter is going to burn 3 billion of its 10 billion supply. So what that means is Jupiter's only got about 15% of its coins in circulation. And over the next 4 years, those coins are going to be released. They have a treasury that had an awful lot of coins in, and it was worrying the community because it's become centralized. So they've agreed to burn 30% of the total supply. So there will not be 10 billion tokens, there will be 7 billion tokens. Now that cannot be underestimated how much of a difference that's going to make to Jupiter. It's a huge amount being burnt. So if you're buying Jupiter today at 60 or 70 cents, and I was telling you that it's a $1.50 coin, it's not a $1.50 coin anymore because they just burnt 30% of the supply. It's now a minimum of a $2 coin. And that's not based on any moon boy math. That is based on, just look at how much money Jupiter makes and what it's going to do with real world assets. I'm not as bullish on many coins as I am on Jupiter. Not in the next couple of months. End of next year, absolutely. I will have a look at Balancer, absolutely. So then, let's move on. So Solana, again, my issue is its revenue generation. That's my issue with Solana. It's introduced ZK compression. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the details of this. Light Protocol and Helios Labs have launched a groundbreaking feature called Zero Knowledge Compression on the Sol network. The new tools allows developers to compress the on-chain state, significantly lowering the costs associated with creating tokens and accounts. Some community members argued the feature resembles a layer 2 network, but Solana's co-founder emphasizes its unique benefits. Now, I've read about this, and there's a lot of people giving fade on Solana, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of everybody having a go at everybody else. I've been in the Chronos chain, as you know, I've been making Chronos chain videos, and the number of he said, she said, it's just like, grow up. We're not in a school playground. Ethereum is good. It has problems. Solana is good. It has problems. Let's just get over that. Nobody in the world is perfect. Now, what will Solana be able to do in the near future? It will be able to connect up with Polygon. That's the move I think is next. Solana is already trying to connect to Bitcoin via Zeus. It will at some point connect into the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, or the AG layer by Polygon. It's on the cards. It's signposted. Okay? Why is it signposted? Because if retail are on Solana and all of traditional finance are on Ethereum, how do we get the two to meet? We create shared liquidity. We create interoperability. If you think that the top bods in Ethereum and Solana are talking crap about each other the same way people talk about on Twitter, you've got another thing coming. Solana is going to be connected to Ethereum the same way that Ethereum is going to be connected to Avalanche and Cardano. It is a matter of time. Chainlink and other such services like CCIP, they are going to create interoperability. I've been talking about this for months. Solana will connect to Ethereum. What else happened last week? USDY, which is a product controlled by Ondo, has now been made available on the Solana blockchain. So now Ondo, my most bullish RWA coin, is now tapping into Solana. It's so obvious what's going to happen. Retailer on Solana, all of these financial institutions offer their products to the Solana blockchain. Drift Protocol is the name of the company, by the way, if anybody wants to know, that's offering USDY on Solana. It's all going to work together. The same way, in the past, if you turned your TV over, a massive satellite on the top of your house had to move on a cog to try and pick up the signal. That's what it's like now. In the future, it's like turning your Skybox over or whatever you've got, or watching IPTV. It's the same thing, but the different signals on different networks. We don't have a universal spider's web now, and we will have. Crypto is a long way from the finished article. Solo Sky, I'm a big fan of Jupiter. Yeah, well, also, for those of you staking Jupiter, the end of the first half of the year, obviously, is in a week's time. From July the 1st, there will be the airdrop on Jupiter, and it will be dropping Jupe. It'll be dropping when? It will be dropping the coins that were associated with the LFG votes. So there's a big bonus coming to all of you holding Jupe in July. I will make a video about it as and when I find out. So we can press on-chain state to get 10,000x scale improvements and get one step closer to building the financial computer, an unstoppable global atomic state machine sinking at the speed of light. It's all positive, bullish news for Solana. Now you've read the news, look at the chart and tell me, does this chart match with the news? No, it doesn't. Now again, I drew this chart weeks ago, and you will know if you've watched that I drew this chart weeks ago, and we are approaching $121, which is, if we go back over here, resistance and support. Now, if we continue to go down, it is still not the point of no return. The Bitcoin chart looks very similar to this. We've been in this downward pattern now. on Solana since the beginning of June. So we've had 3 weeks of this. We're coming to this point. Now, if we break, then we're looking at $110. Okay? We're looking at $100. And maybe we're looking at $76. But I don't think it's going to happen. And the reason I don't think it's going to happen, and this was the question of the day, if you remember what I said, which is moon phases. This is why I'm asking about the wizard's hat today. 66% of the time, the moon phases play out, right? 6% of the time, they go in the opposite direction, and 25% of the time, they mean nothing. So 2/3 of the time, we have this moon price go up. Okay, we'll keep it simple. Price go up from here on a moon phase 2/3 of the time. And we had one print on Saturday night. Now these things take, we're going to put a line in here. So what's the date today? It's the 24th of June. So the 10th of July, okay, let's go there. Right. So here's my prediction, and I'll leave this on the chart. I think we are going to be there in 2 weeks' time, maybe higher. Okay, we're going to bounce. I'm not saying we're going to bounce all the way back up to $200, $174. We are going to bounce. These moon phases happen every 2 weeks. Then the negative phase happens every 2 weeks. So 2 weeks up, 2 weeks down. Now, it sounds crazy. It's crackpot. You might think I've lost my marbles. I've back tested this. It's ridiculous how close it is to working. I don't understand why it works. Oracle has just come in the room as I started talking about the moon phases, and he gave out a big sigh. So, Bitcoin below 62,000. If it does, it goes to 61 and 60 and 57. They're the targets for Bitcoin. Solana, we have to hold this line, $120. If we don't, we come down. Maybe 110, maybe we bounce off 100, but it's now getting to the point where we need to go up. And I'm not saying we're not going to go up, but we do need to go up. We've had downward action. We can go as far back as the 20th of April, which of course was the halving. We've been going down ever since. We've broken this trend line that we've been on for... When did we start this trend line on Solana? Let's get that back. We've been on this trend line since September. So we held that trend line solidly, and now we've crushed beneath it, and we've broken the bull market support band. And every other token we look at today is going to be in the same situation. As I said to you the other day, you can go and buy any 4 coins, and on a green day, you'll think you're Warren Buffett, everything's going to the moon. But when things like this happen, you're going to have buyer's remorse. You're going to feel really crap. Why did I buy Dupe at $1? Why did I buy Solana at $140? Why did I buy Bitcoin at $65,000? Why did I do these things? Everybody's in the same boat, except for the odd individual that happens to buy a token that's going up. Okay? Everybody's in the same boat. You are not bad at crypto and investing. You are not good at crypto and investing. Most tokens follow the same trajectory, and that is wherever Bitcoin goes, they tend to follow. This is a downtrend. We need to go up now. Nothing goes down forever. Nothing goes up forever. We've had plenty of downward action. It's now time to recover. Now, let me give you a scenario that I mentioned before. July the 3rd, July the 4th is when I think the Ethereum ETFs are going to go live. If I'm wrong, and it's July the 11th or July the 18th, I don't care. That's not the point. We are in July. We get a rate cut. We get an Ethereum ETF go live. We get Solana ETFs being applied for. Where do you think the price of Solana is going to be at that point? Do you think it's going to be at $100? Or do you think it's going to be pushing towards $200? Because I know the direction that we're going to get in once this happens, okay? They want you out. They want to get rid of you. They do not want you holding crypto. Your crypto is their crypto in your pocket, okay? As Warren Buffett says, markets are about taking money from the impatient and giving it to the patient. You need patience. Now, here's another psychological effect to think about. Let's say we get a God candle like we've had before. Right, we were on the 27th of February at $102 and we were all bullish, were we not? Then, on the 21st of March, a month and a half later, we're up here and we are super happy. We are Warren Buffett, we're smoking cigars, we're drinking whiskey, we're happy, okay? Then, we've had nothing really, relief rally maybe, but downward action, okay? Now, we are above where we were in February. But look, it took us a month and a half to do this. It's taken 3 months to do this. So double the time to go up to here we've spent coming down. But we're still, what are we, 20%? We're 25% higher than we were in February. That's the problem. We spend so much time going down that when we do pump, let's say this happens and we get rejected again off $200, okay? You are Warren Buffett. Then we do this, okay? For twice the amount of time, 3 times the amount of time we do that. But then we come down to $150. So then what you have, let's put a trend line in to show you what I'm talking about. There, right? So we suddenly have a new trend line, 100, 125 and 150. And we rock it up. Everyone's going to be rich by Friday. And then we spend all this time coming down to a higher price. It just bleeds you of your motivation. It bleeds you of your resistance. They don't think over weekly and monthly charts. They think over yearly charts. They know holding Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin is going to make all of their clients very rich. The whales know this. You just have to have that mental fortitude to hang in there. And when these prices come down, do what the whales do and accumulate. Whales do not accumulate at $4,000 for Ethereum. They do not accumulate at $200 for Solana. They accumulate now. They buy $3,300 Ethereum. They buy $125 Solana. They buy $60,000 Bitcoin. And then when it pumps, they sell. And they sell into you. And you buy from them when they've already made their 20-30% profit. Now, moving very quickly on. Bitcoin is below 61,000. Somebody sold a big amount of Bitcoin. I bet they did. We'll go and have a look at the chart in a minute. So, I'm not even going to go and try and pronounce this name. Is it Benjamin with a typo? Or do we think it's Bayanmin? Minsu. Multiverse is now the leading blockchain network for game development. Now, something else I'm going to point out. I said in my video on Sunday about the portfolio, I said that I wasn't going to include meme coins because they're not real coins or gaming tokens in my 2024-2025 portfolio. And the reason is very simple. They're not ready. Much as we want them to be ready, they're not ready. Gaming is going to be the blow off top price for Bitcoin and everything else. When we onboard 300 million gamers to crypto, that is when all of these tokens are going to have made it. We are so far away from anywhere near that. We need PlayStation, we need Sony, we need Nintendo, we need Steam, we need Epic Game Store, we need game developers. Can you see any of that on the horizon? Because I can't. Now, that doesn't mean gaming tokens aren't going to do well. I still like Gala and Star Atlas and coins like that. But I'm not going to put something into my portfolio that isn't ready. It's half-baked. Come the end of this bull run, I am not expecting 4 or 5 gaming tokens to have done exceptionally well. They will do well, but not exceptionally well. Now, the next bear market might be the time to buy these tokens. Maybe 2027 would be the time to buy these tokens. 3 years on, we need the wallets to be integrated into the consoles. We need the wallets to be integrated into Windows. We need wallets on all mobile phones. That's where we need to get to, and we are not ready for it. So much as Multiverse X might now be the leading blockchain for game development, I'm not going to hold it. I do hold, by the way, I do hold a very small bag of IMX, Immutable X. I do think that's a good token, and I do think it will do exceptionally well. But as an industry, as a category, it's not there yet. It just isn't. It does, like I said, I've got to caveat that. It doesn't mean certain projects aren't going to do well. It means that other projects, DeFi especially, RWA especially, Deepin especially, AI, they are going to outperform. So whereas these gaming tokens might do a 4x, a 5x, a 6x, I do expect RWA, AI, I expect that to do 10, 15x. And Jupiter, the golden child of Solana, is going to rip. Think about this. What's going to happen to Jupiter when Solana gets its ETF? It's going to go through the roof. What's going to happen to Uniswap and Woo when Ethereum gets its ETF? They're going to go through the roof. That's why I've picked them. Why? Because the money that's coming in is going into the ETFs, yes, but the price of Ethereum and the price of Solana is going to go up 20, 30, 50, 100%, whatever it might be. All of the transactions on Uniswap, all of the transactions on Jupiter are going to be exponentially higher because of the values of the Solana and the Ethereum in people's pockets. So I expect them to do well, and the volume's going to go up. They're going to have more press about them. So I've got to caveat this article. So let's get down to the interview. I might have to make this a bit bigger so you can actually read it. So Benjamin is a leading Web3 entrepreneur and founding CEO of Multiverse X as an influential name in the blockchain space. Benjamin, we'll call him Ben, is responsible for Multiverse X's foray into building scalable L1 solutions. Under his leadership, Multiverse X is focused on serving enterprises and developer communities and has established itself as a top 100 L1 project, processing 263,000 transactions a second with an ecosystem of 8,500 dApps, 3,200 nodes. Again, good numbers, don't get me wrong. Long-term vision. We are creating the infrastructure. Again, we are creating. We have not created. The good example of that is why I chose Ondo over Mantra. Mantra is creating a unicorn project, a platform, a blockchain for people to build their own RWA projects. It's going to be massive, but it's building, not built. This is the same thing. They are creating the infrastructure. They haven't created. That's the reason it's not quite going to be baked for this bull run. So let's have a look at who they're going to be with. X Portal, a digital wallet, very nice. They've got 8,000 apps. They've got bridges, all very well and good. Playi is a GameFi project targeting 3 billion gamers globally. I mean, compare this to Toncoin and Telegram, which I don't like. Telegram's got 50, 100 million players of its games generating not coin. I mean, they're nowhere near the size of Telegram. So, you know, where are they going to be in 18 months' time? They're not going to be live. Do you know how long it's going to take to onboard 100 million gamers? I mean, there are examples of games, and there will be when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, where there will be 100 million gamers coming online in the space of a week. I get that. Back in the annals of time, you had Pokemon Go. That was 300 million people playing it. But guess what? they just put it on their mobile phone. They put it on their console. Where is Multiverse? What console is Multiverse on? It's not. So they are targeting, they are building, it's not ready. And I think this price action that I'm about to show you in a minute emphasizes the reason why I'm not going to touch this token. So it's based on sharding, good tech. I know that Ethereum is moving that way as well. It's the only truly scalable blockchain capable of growing with the demand far beyond the capabilities of other networks. Again, we know about this. Another issue that I have for a lot of blockchains at the minute, especially AVAX, is the reliance on Google Cloud. Google Cloud goes down, what happens to the blockchain? That's my issue. Blockchains are supposed to be decentralized across multiple nodes in multiple locations, not just fully centralized. We want to get away from that. We've seen Twitter go down, we've seen Facebook, we've seen Instagram go down. We don't want to see reliance on one cloud, even two clouds or three clouds. If they're all based in California, it's still centralized. That's what makes Bitcoin so special. So we are utilizing sharding tech to multiply the capabilities. We've read all of that. Again, there's nothing in here that makes me want to go out and buy this token. So let's very quickly go and have a look at it, and I'll show you what has happened. Where are we? It could be Reza, yeah. I'm just going to call him Ben. I don't want to offend his name. Right, so. Now this comes up as Elron. Yeah, there we go. Now, I don't know which one I looked at. I don't know if I looked at this one. Is this one? Okay. So the issue with this token is at the start of the pre-bull run, or the bull run if you like, it was coming in at $22. It's ripped up over $70, touched on $80 by the look of it, and has retraced since. But not just retraced, it's crushed. It's back to its pre-bull run price. That's not positive in any book. Now, if you happen to like gaming tokens, then this is a really good price to buy it at. You know, we're going to come down potentially $22.50. What are we, 20% of the way from that to reach the pits? If we go back to June last year, when we were really struggling with Bitcoin, we're at $30. So the price action on this coin is really bad. And again, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Again, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is Bitcoin. This is Solana. It's in the same boat, but it's way lower than it was. Now, before we move on, Reza tells me that Bitcoin is getting trashed. Now, look at that. Wouldn't you know it? What price did I say we were going to come to again? Is it 61.3? 61 is where I said we would bounce. The bottom of the bull market support band is 61. If we lose this price at 61, then 58,000's on the cards. But again, like Reza just said, somebody just sold a massive bag. And the other thing to bear in mind, and this doesn't help either, when prices get to this, people long and they build up massive long positions, and that just lets the market makers go and just close your longs and liquidate you. So if you're at 62.5 and they know they can liquidate you at 61, guess what? They go and liquidate you. So let's not worry too much. As long as we don't lose, I'd say as long as we don't lose 58,000, because if we lose 58,000, then I definitely think we are looking at the start of this M pattern, which is down here at 52,000. So 52, 58 and 61, they're the targets. And if we do bounce, we really need to get back up towards 64,000. So let's just hope. Now, we've really not got very far in this show, so we will try and catch up a little bit. We've only got 10 minutes. No, we haven't got 10 minutes left. We've got 8 minutes left. So let's move on. So I'm not a big fan of the multiverse price action. I'm not a big fan of the project. In 6 years' time, it is more than likely going to be ready. It's not ready now. They've had years already, as have Sandbox, as have Decentraland. Remember, they were tokens in the last bull run that were doing exceptionally well. But we're going to get on to the valuation FAQ in a minute, and we're going to skip through the next two articles. You have to look at speculation and hype versus sound economic footing. You can buy a project based on hype if you understand where it's going to go. But buying something because it just has the buzzword of RWA or AI or DeepIn or any of the ones from the previous bull run that we had, you know, the metaverse coins, they were just buzzwords, but they weren't live. You know, they weren't ready. They weren't prepared. So let's move on. Right, Mark Cuban's Gmail account hacked in spoofed Google recovery scheme. What's important about this? I don't care about it being hacked. I don't care about Mark Cuban. I don't care about anything. What I care about is if you see a post from Mark Cuban, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, the Hulk Hogan, Drake, anybody, any celebrity, if you see them post anything about a coin, do not buy it. Okay? 9 times out of 10, they've been hacked. And you, as long with many other people, will run in. A very small example, Ben Armstrong, BitBoy Crypto, he got hacked last year, the year before. They did this SIM swap attack on him. And he started to promote this coin on his Twitter account that he was locked out of. And I think it was somewhere near $600,000 worth of crypto went to the hackers. So what I'm saying is, don't listen to anybody. You need to give it a few hours, first of all, maybe a day. You then need to cross-reference it with other people talking about it. When these people get hacked, they're not hacked and it stays quiet for forever. You normally find out within the hour or within 2 hours. And those people who jump, those first movers, are the ones that they get caught. So if you see anybody say anything, Taylor Swift, Drake, Mark Cuban, Michael Saylor, another example, if you see them on YouTube, if you see them on Twitter advertising a coin, it's either they've been hacked or it's an AI generated video. Anatoly is another one. Anatoly's on YouTube all the time. He appears before our streams. He appears before our videos. We want to give back to the community. Send 5 sol to me and I'll send you 50 sol back. No, don't do any of that. It's absolute scam. It's the absolute scam of all. Now, the reason we don't have an article about this is because there really isn't an awful lot to talk about. Unlocks in the next 7 days. Nothing to really worry about. Optimism has regular unlocks. Sui has regular unlocks. Alt layer is a bit high, 7%, but again, it's not a large amount of money, $18 million. We can scroll down here. If I make it small enough, I don't think you can see it. But there's no real unlocks, to be honest, that I'm overly worried about. Ajax has got an unlock, but again, there's no real coins in here that I'm overly worried about. And I do include this every week because it's important that you understand. Sometimes coins unlock, you don't know about it, and you're wondering why the price has gone down 5 or 6%. This is a good website to go to. It's just called token.unlocks.app, and it will show you. You don't have to listen to me to get to this. You can go and get it yourself if you want. And it just shows you, and you can narrow it down. So you can look at what would be a good one. AI token unlocks. Ajax, Prime, Rose, FET, Thought. Again, No upcoming event for FET or FORT. Rose, 2%. Prime, 1.83 at the end of the show. Somehow, we always manage to get to the end of the show within the hour, or if not, a couple of minutes over. Let's move on. Good morning, Kabir. Welcome back. How do you put the right valuation on digital assets? What's the best way to place a value on a cryptocurrency? Take your pick, because there are dozens of options. Absolutely. Now, we're not going to go through all of this. We are not going to spend hours on this. But why is Bitcoin worth 61,300? Why is Ethereum worth 3,300? Why do all of these tokens have these prices? That's something to think about, especially the smaller coins. You'll see a game, I've looked at a few of them in the past. You'll see a game that hasn't been launched. It's only for Android phones. It's got a token and it's got a $57 million market cap. Nonsense, okay? You'll see other coins which are undervalued. Maybe think of it one off the top of my head. Chainlink. Okay, Chainlink is going to power most of the on and off ramps to crypto. It's already processed $13 trillion of money through its systems, of which it takes a fraction. That's only valued at, I think, 7 or 8 billion. So you can understand why coins are undervalued, and you can understand when coins are overvalued. And as Peter points out, look at the number of tokens, look at the circulating supply. That's important. But let's go and see what this article is talking about when it comes to how you value a token. So there are thousands of examples in crypto and stock markets to contradict the theory about price reflecting value. Again, I call this emotional trading. Apple's stock went down 30% during the pandemic. Apple didn't sell 30% fewer products. It didn't earn 30% less. Gap's stock crashed 70% in 50 days. It didn't sell 70% fewer clothes. This has been one of my philosophies since I was about 25, which is a long time ago. And it's called emotional trading. So a good example of that is Rolls-Royce. I don't know if many of you know Rolls-Royce, but they make engines for aeroplanes. Now, they lost a contract about 4 years ago, and that contract was 1% of their turnover, and it equated to probably 1% of their profits. And their stock crashed 15 or 20% in a week. That's emotional trading. People are selling it because they think it's an indication of the things to come. It's a great opportunity for you to buy that stock 20% cheaper, means you get 20% more dividends than you would have done before the news, or you can sell it when it goes back to the price it was at. As Warren Buffett said, Mr. Market is a drunken psycho. That is a great analogy. So value investing is what this is all about. And value investing in crypto is a lot harder than in stocks. In stocks, you can say this company makes this amount of money and it makes this amount of profit. Profit ratio is X, earnings ratio is Y, all of those kind of things. So you can do it. In crypto, it's harder because you have bulls and bears swinging the prices all over the place. Prices are the result of many of the variables. I don't need to go through all of this stuff. Valuation reflects specifically to determining an asset's financial value. Valuation involves analyzing data to determine the intrinsic value of an asset using fundamental analysis. For example, why do I think Ethereum is valued more than Solana? Because when you look at the revenue generated by Ethereum, it's considerably higher than Solana. So there is a value associated with that. It doesn't matter if Solana is winning on metrics like users, like transactions, like the NFT sales. It doesn't matter. Look at the amount of money made by a blockchain. If a blockchain isn't live, How are they paying their staff? VC money. When it goes live, how much money is it then making? And is the money that platform on that blockchain is making, is that enough to sustain a development team? These are all the questions you've got to have. Kabir is right, by the way. Germany have got something like 2.3 billion or $3.2 billion worth of Bitcoin that they are selling off. And they are doing it in tranches, I believe, of about $175 million a time. So that's where we are. Everything's come absolutely crashing down. So a framework for crypto valuation, that is where we need to get to. Bitcoin, you can use Metcalfe's law. You could use the same method on a layer one, such as Ethereum, or you could opt for something else, such as stock to flow model. Who uses the stock to flow model? Of course, Plan B. Plan B uses it, and it works especially well for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a deflationary asset, not in terms of it's going down in its numbers, in terms of the inflation is coming down every 4 years. So he's built his stock to flow model. You've then got your NFT model. Typical, an advert pops up on the screen halfway through this. So once you've categorized the token, you can then choose all of these different options. So these are the models associated with Bitcoin. We don't need to go through them. The point of the matter is there are ways to put prices on assets such as Bitcoin, because we have traditional assets like gold to compare them to and silver to compare them to. When you have a benchmark, it's so much easier to pick a price. Is Solana ever going to flip Ethereum? No. In my opinion, it will never flip Ethereum. Why? Because the revenue model doesn't match with that of Ethereum's. So Ethereum is always going to be number two, because guess what? Ethereum is never going to catch Bitcoin. 80 or 90% of ETF money will always go into Bitcoin. Then maybe 5, 6, 7% will go into Ethereum. And then maybe 1 or 2% will go into Solana. Even when we have 50 ETFs, 80% of that revenue is still going to go into Bitcoin. It's always going to be number one. Ethereum is always going to be number two. And by always, let's give it a time frame of 5 years, 6 years. Ethereum will always be number two. And Solana, the way things are looking, will always be number three. You can then look at something like XRP and you can say, right, how does that have a value? That is fairly easy. It's a utility token for processing transactions. How many transactions is it likely to process? That's its revenue model. So all I'm saying in this part of the show, I wanted to put it at the end because I know it's not that fascinating as talking about hooked to a girl and all that kind of stuff, is there are ways and means for you to value crypto. And what you should do is use the same method of valuation. And you should say, is Solana going to be replaced by Cardano? Probably not. Look at the metrics, look at the revenue model of Solana, revenue model of Cardano, look at how much they're actually making, look at the number of users and look at the growth. And that should tell you why Solana is probably going to do, in terms of valuation, a bigger return than Cardano. If Cardano adds $15 billion of value this bull run, I would expect Solana to add $50 to $100 billion of value this bull run. That's how I value it. And even though I talk about revenue and crypto, I don't see anybody else talking about it. And I think it's the same thing. I go back to this time and time again. I remember when the internet started, and my question was, how do these companies make money? How does a free internet provider make money? How does Facebook make money? Because it's a free service. It's a free service because you are the product you are being sold to. The same in crypto. If I have a blockchain that's making $5 million a day in transaction fees, I know how much that company is going to make, or that blockchain is going to make over the course of a year. If you show me a blockchain that's got no transaction fees, tell me where the revenue comes from, because I will not be investing in those projects. And that's how I do it. And you can use any of these on here, Metcalfe's Law, stock to flow. You can look at FOMO, you can look at noise, but make sure you understand the value of an asset before you buy it. I use it with meme coins all the time. When Dog with Hat was at $5 billion, I was going crazy. Why are you buying Dog with Hat at $5 billion? And today, what's it worth? 1.4 billion? Even then, I think it might be overvalued. It's already lost 75% of its value. It doesn't have any value. And the value it did have was a blow off top, which is now retraced with the rest of the market. Bitcoin, the same. Bitcoin will not go to zero. It will not go to $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000. I don't think it's going to go to $40,000, but can it go to 51, 52? Yes, it is it's possible. Bitcoin uses are limited, it's overvalued. I would totally disagree with that. It has one use, which is store of value, and that one use is going to hold its value. And the reason it's going to hold its value is it's a treasury asset, such as the dollar, the pound, and gold. And it's a treasury asset. It doesn't need to do anything else, right? Ethereum has way more use cases. It's the computer of the internet. So is Solana in a different field. They have way more opportunities for use, but that's not the point of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is supposed to be, Bitcoin was to fix the problem of Wall Street. And ironically, it might end up being a slave to Wall Street. That's not the point. For me, Bitcoin has a value similar to gold. Why do you hold gold as a part of your treasury as a company? There's no reason to hold gold. Warren Buffett hates gold. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't produce anything. It doesn't generate a yield. You know, owning a farm produces a yield, but guess what? The cost of running that farm goes up and the yield from that farm can be bad. So there's the inherent risk with holding that kind of asset. Holding gold over the long term will hold the value of your wealth. And that's, in my opinion, the sole reason for Bitcoin and holding Bitcoin is to hold the value moving forward. What's that say? Most people don't hold gold, only maybe use it as jewelry. Yes, most people don't count because the wealth in gold is in nation states. China buys gold. Russia buys gold. The US holds gold. Countries hold gold because it's also a prop for its currency. When we left the gold standard, any level of support for the currency went out the window. And now we have hyperinflation in America and the dollar is going to go to zero because it's not backed by anything. Gold was the tether that held the dollar together, and it doesn't disappear overnight. It takes a long time to disappear. But we're getting to the point now where the dollar is ruined. So if the dollar is ruined, where do you hold your money? You have to hold it in an asset that holds value. And that, believe it or not, isn't Ethereum or Solana. That's Bitcoin and gold. That's the key. Most people don't count in this conversation because most people don't have 90% of the wealth. And 90% of the wealth will hold gold and Bitcoin in the future, as well as maybe holding silver, platinum, whatever else, diamonds, whatever. Anything that's an inflation hedge. Anyway, we've overrun by a country mile and we appear to have frozen. Are we still here? We are still here and I'm still here, but my screen seems to have frozen. Oh no, we're here. Okay, so very briefly then, before I go, I'm back tomorrow at 11. Brogan is back at 9 p.m. tonight. So in 9 hours time, there will be a trading stream. Brogan will be going through all of the charts. If you want to talk to Brogan, if you want to, follow along with what he's talking about, if you've got anything you want him to look at, ping the boy. And the poll results are in. If moon phases work, should Mike wear a wizard's hat? 82% have said yes, 18% have said no. You are all ridiculous. Do you think I would wear a wizard's hat? Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thanks to everybody. Thanks for all the chat. Thank you for Kabir and Reza and Chris and Web3 and everybody else who's been in chat. Solo Sky and people like that. Kishan, thank you all for coming. I will see you all in the morning. Have a great afternoon. Let's see if we bounce off 61. If we come down, I think Kabir said we're going to go to 50,000, didn't he? Kabir's our perma bull. Oh no, 40.